What if an ancient spiritual journey could actually hold a key to unlocking some of the biggest mysteries in modern physics? Well, today we're going to dive into a sacred event from Islamic tradition that seems to completely defy the laws of spacetime, and it's forcing scientists to question, well, pretty much everything they thought they knew about reality itself.
So what is this event we're talking about? It's called the Isra Mirage. Now, picture this. It's a two-part journey that takes place in a single night. First, there's the Isra. That's a miraculous trip from Mecca all the way to Jerusalem. And then there's the Mirage, an ascension, a journey up through the heavens into the very presence of the divine. But here's the really mind-bending part. It's not the speed of the journey that's the big puzzle. It's that the entire thing is described as happening outside of our normal concept of time. And, well, that's where physics just slams on the brakes. I mean, how can something happen outside that one-way street of past, present, and future that seems to rule our entire universe?
Okay, to really get why this is such a head-scratcher for scientists, let's first take a look at how this journey is actually described from a spiritual perspective. What does it even mean to be outside of time?
This isn't time travel like we see in the movies. Theologians describe it more like entering a state of pure now. Just try to imagine a moment so incredibly profound that the past and the future, they just become meaningless. All that exists is the present moment, and for the person in it, linear time just kind of dissolves. So how in the world does physics even start to grapple with an idea like timelessness? This is exactly where that spiritual concept creates this fascinating scientific puzzle. How do you even begin to model something that seems to break the most fundamental rules of reality as we know it? This right here puts the core conflict into really sharp focus. On one hand, you've got the time we all live in. It's linear, right? A cause and effect domino chain. But the time of the Isra Mirage is described as something totally different, instantaneous, all at once, and completely unbound by our physical laws. It's like they're two completely separate realities. And this brings us to a huge, fundamental question for science itself. When you're faced with something that seems to break all the rules you've established, what's the next step? Do you just dismiss it and say it's impossible? Or do you let it challenge your understanding and maybe even expand what you thought was possible? And this is precisely where even our greatest scientific theories kind of hit a wall. I mean, Einstein's relativity completely changed how we see space-time. But even it has limits, places where the math just breaks down and the rules don't seem to apply anymore. Our current physics really struggles with the very things this journey describes. Instantaneous travel, I mean, that smashes the cosmic speed limit. And the whole idea of a timeless state, well, that sounds an awful lot like what physicists call a singularity. Like the center of a black hole, where our known laws of time and space completely fall apart. And hey, this isn't just speculation. Physicists themselves, like Bhattacharya points out here, will openly admit that time is one of the biggest, most stubborn mysteries left in science. We can measure it, we can use it, but what time fundamentally is, well, that remains a huge open question. But you know what happens when current theories hit a wall, right? That's when new ones are born. This is where the whole conversation gets really exciting, as we start to explore some of the mind-bending alternative frameworks that physicists are developing to try and get at the deeper nature of reality. Okay, first up is something called space quantization. Think of it like this. What if the universe isn't a smooth, continuous movie, but it's more like a series of individual frames, or quanta? In a reality like that, movement wouldn't be a smooth glide. It would be an instantaneous jump from one pixel of space to the next. And suddenly, crossing huge distances instantly doesn't seem so impossible after all. Then things get even weirder with the holographic principle. This idea suggests our entire 3D reality could just be a projection of information that's stored on a distant 2D surface. Now, if that's true, then the concepts of here and there are basically just illusions. And if distance isn't really real, then traveling across the cosmos instantly isn't just possible, it's actually built into the fabric of reality. And this brings us right back to where we started. Some physicists are now working on models where time isn't a fundamental building block of the universe at all. Instead, it's an emergent property, something our consciousness experiences that rises from a deeper reality that is completely timeless. Notice how strikingly similar that sounds to that present-centered experience that theology describes. It's wild. And that leads to this really profound idea from thinkers like Bouchon. What if consciousness isn't just some passive observer of time? What if it's an active participant?
maybe even helping to create the very experience of its flow. This really challenges the idea that we can understand the universe just by breaking it down into smaller and smaller physical parts.
So where does all this leave us? Well, it leaves us at this absolutely fascinating intersection, a dialogue that's searching for a much deeper understanding of our reality. I think the key takeaway here is that no single field has the complete answer. Physics gives us the models, cosmology gives us the scale, philosophy asks those really tough questions, and theology offers these profound insights from centuries of human experience. To truly try and understand reality, we need all of these perspectives talking to each other. And let's be really clear, the goal of this whole dialogue isn't for science to prove or disprove a miracle. Not at all. It's to see how these ancient stories can act as a kind of catalyst, pushing science way beyond its comfort zone to ask bigger, bolder questions about the true nature of time, space, and even consciousness itself. So let's just end with this thought. For centuries, we've kind of built a wall between science and spirituality. But what if they're just two different languages trying to describe the same profound reality? What if our oldest spiritual questions and our newest scientific theories are finally leading us to the exact same incredible mystery?